Welcome to Coffee and Tea with me, Damiana Grande, if you know me from the internet, and Cole, if you know me from some weird, most likely chaotic adventure we've been together on in real life. That, I just realized, is my intro from the trailer. I definitely didn't say that last time, did I? I really don't think I did. I have a confession to start off with this week. Last week I did my entire thing scripted because I was super prepared. This week, not so prepared. I've had the most insane week. It was my birthday, as you can tell by the title of this podcast. It is called I Am Older. And guess what, babes? I'm so old. Before I go off on my rant about how I'm 31 and still not super prepared for every situation that I put myself into, let's talk about what I'm drinking today. It's currently 11 p.m., y'all, so that means I'm probably not going to be drinking coffee. Not only am I not drinking coffee because it's 11 p.m. and I have to be up in like 9 hours, I ran out of the Kona coffee that I got from Hawaii, and I haven't found any other coffee that I feel like drinking. So I haven't had any coffee at home in a couple days, actually, which is weird because I love making my own coffee. So it's weird to wake up in the morning and not just have like my own latte to make. So that means I've been purchasing my coffee for the past couple of days, which actually hasn't been that bad because I got a lot of gift cards for my birthday for coffee places, which is nice because this podcast has just started. So you guys don't associate me with coffee that much, I guess, or maybe you do. But most of everyone who's known me in my real life for so long has known that I've just been so into coffee. I literally have friends that's our like main bond is coffee. So a lot of people sent me coffee things for my birthday, which is nice. So I've been having coffee from some unsavory places in today's news. And of course, I have Dunkin', which is always super nice because really you never know what you're going to get. It's literally never the same anytime you go, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Last year on my birthday, I went and I got nothing what I ordered, which completely ruined my day, to be honest. So this year, I decided to go somewhere that's a little more, how do you say, familiar, kind of the same every time you go. It's kind of built like that to be the same in every location that you go to, no matter where in the world you go. So today I had an iced oat milk latte with blonde espresso, of course, and I had hazelnut and pistachio syrups, which was fantastic. I do feel a little guilty walking around with that cup because I don't want to support that company right now. But that company has been a part of my life for like so long that sometimes I just crave that familiarity, but that also doesn't mean that I have to talk about them by name. So I won't. Also, listening to a little bit of last week's episode, I noticed that it was still kind of quiet, which is very annoying because I feel like when I'm listening to myself back, or like right now, I'm listening to my voice in real time with a monitor, I sound so loud. So instead of straying away from the loudness, this week I'm going to listen to myself scream into my ears and see when I publish this if that is too loud for y'all or if it actually makes sense this time. Because last time I was turning my crap up all the way in my Jeep, and with the wind blowing, I could barely hear myself. So I can only imagine like you sitting and doing your makeup. Hopefully you can hear me because it's peaceful and quiet in the environment that you're in. But if you're driving and something that's as loud as my car, how the heck are you supposed to hear me? Like, how are you going to listen to a podcast if you don't even know what the person is saying? So maybe this one sounds a little bit better. Let me know. I don't know. Comment somewhere. If you see me in real life, let me know. I have a lot of prompts here that I ask you guys for, and sometimes I get answers back. My friend Jaden, this last week's episode was only 19 minutes long. She said, babes, I was in the middle of my eye makeup and you literally stopped talking. And I think I said that in my last week's episode when I noticed that it was going to be too short. I was like, oh, you know what? This was a zip zap and it's over now. So this week, let me ramble on a little bit more. I think I'm afraid of letting people hear me talk too much because I feel like I'm annoying and I don't want this to be so long that you think I'm annoying. Like at this point, I've been rambling on about nothing for probably 2 minutes and you are like, my primer's on, babes, get to the point. I'm also 100% not editing this episode because I always edit like a minute and a half out at least, which might help me with a little bit of time and might help you get further in your makeup routine without me stopping in the middle and making you scramble to find something else to listen to. Listen to me, babes. This is the podcast that you need to listen to. Next time, hopefully, you'll listen to a little bit of a more prepared podcast that isn't put together 11:30 p.m. at night, 30 minutes before I'm supposed to be uploading an episode. Anyway, let's talk about me being old. I am old. I am 31. I know some of you are like rolling your eyes, but it's weird to be like 31 and having gone through like all these huge things that the world has had to go through. In my 31 years of life, like I don't know, all these huge events, like I don't know, the Twin Towers falling. Oh, that was a cuss word? Was that a cuss word? That I said freaking. Or I don't know, this little thing called COVID. That was like a weird thing that happened. I don't know, maybe that just happened to me. I think that was just me. You probably never heard of it, like this small indie band called COVID. So then thinking about all that, I'm like, what have I had time to accomplish in that time? Like in these 31 years, what have I accomplished? And I feel like nothing, but the Aquarius in me loves to do so many things and not just like one thing. Like if I was able to have like a one-track mind and stick to something and achieve that goal, I think that I would be so much further in my head than I am. Because when I look at other people, and not that we should compare ourselves to others because that's literally pointless, everybody has a different track in life. But when I compare myself to others, it's weird to see people who are 31 who are like halfway through their careers because they've been doing the same thing. They went to college, they graduated, they went onto a career track that they went to college for, and they've been in that career for like 10 plus years and they're thriving. And here I am, having gone to college, not graduating because I had a whole back thing where I broke it. I broke my back at 24 in a chair accident on a wet football field in California. So that's something that like made me hard stop. And I think in the hard stop, I was like, do I want to go back to college? Is this worth it? And then I went into corporate America, but the retail side or whatever the heck that's called. And I sort of became this career coffee person where I was going to own my own company that does coffee everywhere in the world. And that's what I spent a lot of time on, like forever. Sort of shifted my focus from musical theater to that and did musical theater in my meantime, which is like what I was going to college for when I broke my back. Which makes no sense because why was I a cheerleader and in musical theater? Who knows, babes? But I was doing musical theater and Addams Family the Musical at exactly the same time. And I had to stop both of them because I broke my back. But you know what? I didn't know I broke my back at first. I knew. I knew something bad happened. I landed on my neck and like my flexibility went away immediately and I was in so much pain. And I was like, maybe I should go to the doctor. But then I had finals and I had a dance recital coming up and my grade depended on it. And I had cheer competitions that needed to be done. So I was like, I'll go to the doctor after all this. And I got an A and it was worth it. And I got my cheer comp out of the way and it was worth it. And then I went to physical therapy and they're like, you shouldn't have done all this because literally you're about to die. That's dramatic. I wasn't about to die, but she did say that I was very, very close to being paralyzed, so it's kind of good that I stopped when I did, so I'm glad that I stopped when I did, I guess. I mean, they put me through physical therapy, which inevitably made it worse, which is great because I was literally prescribed that, and they made me stretch my back in a way that they were like, oh, well, I guess this is making it worse, maybe we should just do surgery, which is the suggestion at the beginning, but they were like, oh, maybe this can be better through physical therapy. And then it was worse, which is, I guess, healthcare in America, you know? Every American loves to say it gets better before it gets worse, or something like that. Isn't that right? I don't know. I didn't live here my whole life, so sometimes I see things through the worst set of glasses, which I think I need glasses, but that's a whole different thing. Before I talk about what I've done this week, which I really want to talk about. I was originally going to name this podcast episode something different because I wanted to make the whole episode about this one thing. And then I realized that if I talked about this one thing, it would literally be a 30-second episode and then it would be over. I want to talk about comparing myself to things again. So, one of the reasons I decided to do a podcast is because, surprise, I spend a huge amount of my free time listening to podcasts. I listen to mostly like The Basement Yard. That's a lie. I do listen to The Basement Yard a lot, but I listen to Grace Helbig and Mamrie Hart's This Might Get Weird podcast a super lot, and now they have like This Might Get Real. I listen to Dark History. I listen to, I don't know, a lot of like interview podcast type things. And I was like, oh, I can do that. That would be so much fun. But I think the thing that I'm missing there is that there are two people in that podcast. So it's really easy to riff off of each other. It's super, super easy for me to have a long conversation about absolutely nothing with someone in real life, and to me in the moment it sounds super interesting, like that could be on a podcast. But when you do a solo podcast, you're literally riffing off of yourself, and that's impossible. I mean, it's possible, but I would love to have somebody else here, or like a multiple personality that I could pop out of my body and talk to myself, because it's just easier to riff off of yourself. So lately I've been comparing me and what I want this podcast to be to other podcasts that I listen to. But it's so impossible to compare myself to somebody else's format that's so completely different than mine. And now I don't know if there's a podcast out there that it's just a singular person that's actually succeeding. Like, I don't know anybody that listens to... Wait, I literally just said her podcast name. I just realized in the middle of my sentence that I definitely listen to Dark History, and that's just Bailey Sarian for 45 minutes talking about one single topic. But then I have to realize that that's probably scripted. How do you script something, a lifestyle podcast about yourself? Like, I did it last week and I read the entire script in 35 seconds. I can't sit here and write a 35-page script to read to you. And doesn't that sound kind of boring? Does that sound... I need you to Dora a response. Doesn't that sound boring? Yeah, that sounds boring as heck. See, it's like, it sounds dumb. Like, I don't want to read off of a script to you. You could just be watching TV at that point. And in saying all of that, like I said before, it's so unhealthy to compare yourself to things that make no sense to compare yourself to. Why am I comparing myself to all these podcasts where it's two people having an interesting conversation and you're just peeking in on that conversation? Which is how I want my format to be, but you're literally peeking in on a conversation that I'm having with myself. And if I can be frank, mind your frickin' business when I'm talking to myself. I am trying to have an intimate moment here. Excuse me. I'm just kidding. Please, Dora, talk back to me, because I think that would be so interesting and funny. And if you do it, please record yourself and post it on Instagram stories and then tag me, because I want to watch you being a literal psycho in your room, because I'm literally sitting here talking to myself at night, because I don't want anybody in my house knowing that I talk to myself into a microphone for 19 minutes at a time. Because doesn't that sound wonky? Doesn't that sound like I should probably be committed somewhere? Because I think it sounds like I should be committed somewhere. Should I call a hotline? Also, now that I'm 31 and I still don't have a solid track of where I'm going in life, I feel like I spend a lot of my time wondering what the heck I'm doing and where I'm going. And it makes me look at, like, what am I going to do next? Like, I'm in my current position. I think I'm doing pretty well in my current position. I am looking for ways to excel in my current position at the time, because if I'm not actively working at something and seeing little successes, I start to feel like I'm getting stagnant, which is sort of like what I was talking about in my first one, where I was talking about I'm a runner. And a lot of you were like, I feel like I listen to this podcast and that means you're going to move. It doesn't mean that I'm going to move, but it does mean that I need something to shake it up. Like, I can't do this for another year. I need to see an opportunity to move up. So I'm currently looking at not places, positions that I could move into. And this isn't a secret. I've talked about this with my workplace. So, all you little snitches out there who think you're getting a little bit of tea, guess what? Everybody already knows, babes. You can't tell anyone because they know. So, yeah, now I'm looking at becoming a bigger manager, maybe, or taking on a different role in the company because I do like the company that I work for. I love my health insurance. It would be nice to be on a steady salary instead of getting paid hourly, which I'm not complaining. I'm getting paid. I love money. But like a salary would be nice. So now my brain is overreacting like, oh, do I stay here and then hopefully move into the role that I want to move into, which I'm depending on somebody else moving into a different role to get into that role? Or am I looking at getting into the role that they're in, possibly in a different store in my area? But then my brain is like, well, if I'm looking at getting into a different store in my area, why couldn't I get into a higher position in a different area in a new store? And so maybe I am talking about running. Is this full circle 360? I just realized that I might be talking about running. I mean, ideally, it would be nice to find out that this company is opening a store in Hawaii, and then I can just move to Hawaii with my company. I want to stay with my company, is what I'm saying. When I tell you that it is the easiest thing to me to sell you makeup and skincare because it's the only thing that I found consistently exciting and interesting for years and years, and the amount of useless information I have in my head about makeup, skincare ingredients, the formula of makeup that works on different kinds of skin, and how skin reacts, and how your skin is reacting right now is not going to be compatible with and this product. If I just didn't use that, even when I was on the plane, I was having people ask me makeup and skincare questions, and I would go out of my way to give them a full routine just because, like, I have the information, I need to spout it somewhere. So being around all that stuff is, like, kind of therapeutic to me because where else am I going to put that information? I went to makeup school, I think in 2014, before I even went to cosmetology school and graduated from the makeup school. Hello, I am capable of graduation. Got my little certificate, did a couple weddings, did a lot of events, did proms, and stuff like that. So that's the only thing that I've graduated and done professionally and worked hard at getting all this knowledge for, so I can tie it to some sort of success in a career. So it makes more sense for me to stay in my company because I have all of this knowledge, and then I have all of this customer service that I've gotten through the multiple airlines that I've worked for, through the huge coffee company and Disney when I worked for Disney. Like, companies pay people to go on retreats to Disney so that Disney can teach their companies, these huge companies, how to properly do customer service. And I got to go there for free, essentially. I mean, they paid me and I gave them my life. But that, I got it directly from the source on how to do my job well in that company, and got Ambassador of Happiness twice before I left the company, which is fantastic. Where else can I say that I was Ambassador of Happiness? That sounds sick. I'm changing the name of this podcast to Ambassador of Happiness, I think. So clearly I'm in the right field. I just need to figure out how to use all of the experience that I've had, put it on paper, and then translate it to real life so that I can move out of my role and maybe into something bigger. Because my innards are just not sitting well being in the same position this long. Mind you, it's been 5 months, coming on 6 months. That's completely normal. I think it's insane for me to think that I should be in the next role prior to my first year in the company. But it makes sense to me. Like, I feel like I am exceeding my expectations for this role. Y'all just heard me stumble over those words. Excuse me, I didn't know that I was already at 19 minutes and the outro from last week started playing. It was like when you watch the Grammys and the speech is too long and they start playing music over them so they can get booed off stage. That's what just happened to me right now. And I was like, what the heck is happening? So, Jaden, babes, it's made it to 19 minutes. It will be a little bit longer. I'm going to try not to act like this is going to be 45 minutes long because it won't be and it shouldn't be. But it is past 19 minutes, so I win for that at least. And that is a minor success that I will that's my first success in 31. I've made it past 19 minutes rambling to myself. I don't know if that's good. I might want to call that hotline again. That was a super long, drawn out rant about me not moving soon, but maybe potentially moving. I mean, I want to see what's open and what's out there, and a salaried role would be a great excuse to move somewhere and take the role and challenge myself further so that my brain can be distracted at all times, because Lord knows I can't be alone with my thoughts too long. Can't even be alone with my thoughts too long in this podcast. My mouth has to constantly be moving or else I'll stop and then I'll think, and then thinking is bad. Can you imagine if I was caffeinated right now? Like, the way that I'm talking already seems like too much. Imagine 3 shots of espresso in my system right now. I'm expected to go to bed in the next 45 minutes and I don't think that's gonna happen. So I've been 31 for 2 days. I want to not sit on things in my 30s. I want to do them. I am notorious for needing to get things done and sort of procrastinating on getting them done and getting them done eventually. I don't want to do the procrastination anymore. I want to need to get something done and then get it done. So in the spirit of getting things done, I got my phone fixed. I got a new iPhone 14 Pro Max last year for my birthday, and in the first week I dropped it and cracked one of the cameras. The hole in the crack didn't show in any of the pictures, so I was like, oh, I could put this off. It's no big deal. Camera's totally functional, blah, blah, blah. It sat for so long, so much dust got in there that my camera couldn't focus on anything and couldn't see, and it looked like how I look when I think I have 20/20 vision, except I think sometimes things are dusty, and then that camera would focus and click on something else. So I was like, okay, I'm 31, it's time to get it fixed. I need to be an adult. Got it fixed. So I can do that with everything. Why can't I do that with everything else? I'm going to do that with everything else. I am getting things done. I am on routines. I am taking my pills every morning. I'm taking my pills every night. I have been on top of my estrogen injections every single Wednesday except that one week where I did it on Thursday morning because I thought it was Thursdays and not Wednesdays, and that's not my fault, even though it is my fault. Maybe I should take accountability in 31, or maybe I can wait till 32 to take more accountability for things that I do that only affect myself. I can take accountability for things that I've done wrong in the world. If it affects other people, I'm like, oh yeah, that was me, I did it. But when I do something that affects myself, I love to lie to myself. It's my favorite bit. Where's my makeup brush? Why is it in the bathroom? Who did that? Not me. It was clearly me. Who the heck is touching my makeup brushes besides me? This Dior highlighter is fantastic. I'm breaking out. It couldn't be the Dior highlighter, but I did start breaking out only when I started using that Dior highlighter. But it's so pretty. It couldn't be that. I lied to myself. I need to return the Dior highlighter. Just because it's Dior doesn't mean it's great. The perfume in there is making my skin freak out. Something good to lie to yourself about is the fact that you can do anything that you think you can do, because it's a fake it till you make it world out there. And I once told myself that I will one day be a model. And this last week, I got to be a freaking model. I canoodled myself into a situation where I got to be a model for a bridal convention, bridal event. There were multiple bridal wedding things there, and my friend Shelly was going to be a makeup artist, or she was the makeup artist for this bridal convention, and she needed models, and I was like, I'll model. And then she was like, that would be great. And immediately she said that would be great. I thought it was a joke because my brain has not caught up to my body, and my body has changed so much in the last year that I don't fully see that I am in a position in my life where I could possibly be a model for anything. So when she said yes, I was like, wait, you I'm going to be a model for this. So I spent, I don't know, a week and a half freaking out about how I was going to be a model. And the day came up and I got fitted for a wedding dress. And oh my God, little me, little me watching women get married on TV in wedding dresses was like, I want to wear a wedding dress one day. And I knew that that was never going to happen because I was a little boy. And then I remember when I was in college, me and my cousin would go to like little bridal shops and like fake that she was going to get married, and she would try on wedding dresses, and I'd be so jealous because she'd look so pretty, and I'd be like, God, I'm just sitting here like eating it up. I loved the moment, but like in the back of my head I was jealous. So it's like always been a weird dream of mine to be a model, first of all, and then a second little dream to try on wedding dresses, which I absolutely never thought that I would get to do. And I got to try on 3 wedding dresses that day, and the third one was perfectly fitted. It was insane. It's not my style necessarily, like that's not what I would wear to my wedding, but I thought it looked so beautiful, and the pictures that the photographer took that day came out amazing, and I got so many compliments, and it was a great boost for my ego, which was a great way to start off 31, because I think it's so easy for you to get older and start feeling like your battery, I don't know, it's like dying, you know? I think my level of beauty is going down. So having that outside confirmation was great. I don't need it. I mean, I do need it. I wish I didn't need it. I wish that I told myself that I was beautiful all the time. I do. But I don't think I listen to myself. Back to the lying. I can't even trust myself when I tell myself I'm beautiful. Am I lying? Did somebody pay me to do that? So in 31, I think I want to take opportunities. It would be nice to model again. I really want to get back on stage. I haven't been on stage since like 2019. Actually, yeah, right before COVID, I did Little Shop of Horrors, and that was great. And I had a role, and my character had a name, and it was nice to be on stage and escape into somebody else's world and be a different person, and that sort of does the fix for me. Like I don't feel like I have to move around a lot because I am living a different life while also living mine. Maybe that's it. I think I just need to get creative and go on stage, honestly. And that's part of the reason why I stopped flying anyway, is because I wanted to give myself opportunity to go on stage. But there are no frickin' auditions around here for any stage shows, and that leads me back to taking opportunities elsewhere. Because why are there no musical opportunities around here? I'm not a play person. I think I should do a play just to do a play so that I can do a play and say if I really like it or not. I was once understudy for every single role in The Crucible and had to learn everybody's lines, and that was intense. And then during the show, I was watching it and I was like, this is boring. Where's the music? Where's the dancing? Like being a trained dancer and a semi-trained vocalist makes me feel like I'm wasting my opportunity on stage, even though I do need more acting chops. That would be fantastic. So maybe I should do a play. Or maybe this podcast will be my little creative outlet. Who knows? But I do think that it's time to wrap this up. Thank you for sitting with me and listening to me talk about, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 things, maybe nothing at this point. I think this week was just sort of a wrap it up to tell you about all these things that I did in my 87 years of living. I think I have about 2 more episodes of me in me before I think about adding somebody else on. I am getting in a good cadence, I think, to talk to myself in a conversation and maybe fill some gaps if somebody else feels awkward in this, which is inevitable and will happen because we're talking to a microphone. It's weird. It's weird. If I didn't have like years and years of me talking to a camera on YouTube under my belt, I think it would be completely awkward, completely out of left field for me to talk to an inanimate object like it's a person. So I can fully expect somebody else to come in here and look at the microphone and be like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to talk into this. So next week you can expect more of me. Maybe scripted, maybe unscripted, maybe prepared, maybe not. Hopefully prepared because that's what I want to do in my 30s. So we'll see. Or maybe we won't. No, we will. We'll see. Thank you for listening to my unscripted podcast. If you would like to follow me outside of this podcast, I am at Damiana Grande on every platform. And of course, Coffee and Tea, that's COFFEE, as in coffee, and T, just the letter T, on iTunes and Spotify. I am old, but I am beautiful, right? Talk to you soon, babes. XOXO, Coffee and Tea.